Hello everyone, welcome back to more Terra Mystica. It's tournament season 38, and this is my fourth and final game to finish in the season, and therefore will be my last video in the playlist. Um, well, we'll get to that later. Oh right, we were adjusting the font size on these so you can see the round tiles. Maybe just this much so I can see them too. As I've mentioned, I have some vision problems, so I can just about manage here, but any smaller is a little bit unpleasant. This is the game in which I was player 1, and I chose Darklings. So everything, even the other players' factions, are all news to you. If you watched the first video in this series, the faction selection videos, I don't remember what I suggested was good. Swarmlings seem fine. I don't really understand the dwarves here or the chaos magicians, but I mean, there's some good points in favor of the dwarves. Notably, the late dwelling scoring and round 5 stronghold scoring are both pretty cool because they incentivize dwarves to do a bunch of tunneling in the last round, which is something nobody else can do, obviously. And there is the Earth cult income, which dwarves are particularly good at. I don't know, dwarves seem fine. I chose Darklings just because, you know, everything. There didn't seem to be anything that really leaps out as the best. And what order did we place all of our dwellings? E10, D5, and E7 were first. Yeah, so I placed here, and the other two placed here. I'm not including the Chaos Magicians because they go last. Yeah, I placed here, Swarmlings placed here, Dwarves placed both of these, and then Swarmlings went and had their own party with nobody else invited. And I said, do I really want to be, partners with them on C1? Not really. They won't even be very good trading partners. I'll just stay to the east and try to be friends with the dwarves. It's kind of an awkward setup for me, to be honest. I was hoping to get Chaos Magicians on D7. I don't really know why they went on D4. Like, it doesn't seem correct. E7 is a crucial square for Chaos Magicians. I looked at some statistics that were posted some time ago, and it's like astonishing how big a deal E7 is for them. Their like average placement goes from like between third and fourth to like between first and second if they get E7. It's staggering because it gives them access to so much more red space via shipping, right? All this area opens up, and you get E8, and then you get over here. So I think if you're going to start on D4 with knowing you have no access to E7 ever, it's just like not very good. And I thoughtfully provided you with a neighbor on D7, which would like annoy the engineers, or I'm sorry, the dwarves, who kind of want to make this town happen. Now, when you get here, you'll be kind of in a race for territory with them, but all you really have to do is secure D6 and C5, and that's enough territory for you, really, right? The dwarves aren't going to threaten to take, those are the 3 tiles you really need. It might be nice to take E9, but it's not the end of the world if dwarves take it, and they probably will. Oh, something I wanted to say at the beginning of this video, which I forgot, is that I'm glad this is the last video. Not because I'm glad for the series to be over. It's a lot of fun to make these. But because it had some exciting twists and turns that would be harder to contextualize if we had several more unknown game results coming up. So this was definitely an exciting one, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Anyway, so that's where all the dwellings went, and I didn't have a lot of choices about what trading or bonus tile to get, obviously, because the other players go first. Chaos Magicians took the Sanctuary tile, totally normal. Dwarves took Priest, which... Nah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what that was all about. Do they want to try for the... Do they want to try to get to 4 air? I'm not sure how they're going to. Are they just going to rock it up on Earth and cash in later on this stuff? It's a mystery. The beginning of this game was like a month ago, so give me a break if I don't remember what they were doing. Swarmlings took the dig, which seems pretty great. It's what I would have guessed the dwarves would take. And I was left with 2 scoring tiles and 2 income tiles. And the income seems much better early in the game. I'm not going to have much of anything to score with. Like a dwelling, wow. And I could go for the cult income, but I don't think that's a great idea. The Darklings are quite worker starved, especially in the early game. Well, specifically in the early game, because you start with only 4 instead of 6, and you tend to want to spend 4 of them on a temple. It leaves you very few. So getting a worker and also some power is really like... This is the second best bonus tile I could have asked for. I would have been happier with this one, but there's no way I'm getting it, of course. I don't know, would the dig have been better? Probably not. I think this is great for me. And what's our overall game plan this game? I'm not as flexible as I would like to be with Darklings. I watched Zoras's Ultimate Guide to Darklings, which is like a 6-video series or something ridiculous like that. And I definitely like picked up some things from it for sure. I didn't absorb all of it. But a few things that stuck with me are that, like, as we saw in my last Darklings game, there are a number of ways you can actually get down a Sanctuary in round 1 that I would not have thought of. And since it's especially valuable for Darklings to get their Sanctuary, it's something you often would like to do if it's possible. And second, the other thing that stuck with me is he describes kind of 3 main Darkling game plans, characterized by what do you do with your priests. Do you send them to the cult tracks and try to win a couple, try to do well on a large number of cults? That's one thing. Do you, like, use them to upgrade shipping and try to compete on network by placing down a bunch of dwellings and making a big old economy to let you do that? Or do you just, like, grind them into dust and spend them on digs? And so far, every time I play Darklings, I go for that third approach. I have not historically done very well in the cults as Darklings, because it always seems better to me. Like, why would you send a priest to a cult when it can do this insane stuff for you? Create a dig and 2 points? Are you kidding me? And, like, upgrading shipping? That's so expensive. Why wouldn't you just dig more? And so my Darkling games have been characterized by especially low shipping scores. Network scores, rather. Often 0. Which is fine. Darklings produce a lot of points. But it seems I would like to learn to be more flexible with Darklings. And by the way, this game, I was not more flexible with Darklings. I got a non-zero network score, I will tell you that. But I mostly turned my priests into digs. Anyway, right. What's the game plan then? Well, it's like turning priest into digs. Is there anything compelling on the round scoring track telling us what to do? I mean, no. You'd like to be able to build some dwellings in the end, but that's always true, pretty much. Might be nice to get a bunch of water in the middle of the game, maybe. The scoring tiles, we have everything except shipping scoring. So there's a good reward for getting a sizable economy. Maybe. I don't know. So I don't really have a game plan at this point. I'm just gonna like do stuff that looks reasonable, like upgrade to a temple and pick up Earth 1. It's actually kind of surprising. Normally there's a big rush for Earth 1. I'm not sure why there wasn't one here. Why did the Swarmlings choose to take C3 before... Oh, right, because they're Swarmlings. They don't want a temple, they want a stronghold. Sure. Yeah, and so that means that the Chaos Magicians also don't have to rush for Earth 1. They can pick out something else first. Not that there's any particular reason to. They picked up Earth 1 and Earth 2. But it means the dwarves don't have to rush to get to take the temple either. They can take a turn off to secure the 3 spot on the Earth cult. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if that was the plan. Maybe they took the priest, planning to get it into Earth while everyone else was kind of busy getting Earth 1, maybe? And then they'll later get Earth 1 themselves, I assume? What did I do? Did I take a priest power action, maybe? Oh, no. Yeah, I took the coin power action, so... Sure. Darklings... I don't know. Everyone tends to be short on coins eventually. And, I guess in this game, it was sort of fresh in my mind, the disappointment that I felt in my other Darklings game when I took the worker power action early and was under pressure to find enough coins to finish my sanctuary in round 2. So I took the coins this time, sure. I guess. Oh yeah, because I want to build a dwelling. No, I already have 7 coins, so like I could build a dwelling if I wanted. I don't know. Coin action's good. Let's take it and see where that goes, right? I guess. Maybe I'm also trying to play slowly this round to see if I can get the Sanctuary scoring tile from the Chaos Magicians. It's sort of hard to tell how quickly they'll pass, though. They have a cult step action. They have a couple of power actions they could burn to take if they wanted. Although I don't think they really want any of these. Yeah, so I think my idea was I'm right after Chaos Magicians, and they have the favor tile I want. Let's try to pace my turn out so that I pass right after they do. And so you kind of have to predict what it is they're going to do with their turn. And I think... Well, and so this matters because I have to decide, do I dig and build on this turn, or do I dig and then later build? And it depends on what I think the Chaos Magicians are going to do. If I think they're just going to take a cult step and then pass... Oh. No, in either case, I want to go slow, right? I need to dig, and then they'll do a cult step, and then build, and they'll pass, and then I can pass. And that's just sort of like hoping that they don't choose to take a power action. I think that's a pretty reasonable hope. They might want the worker power action, but they certainly don't want any others, and I don't know if they even really want that. They might be happier to get the coins next round, or or who knows what. So I assume that's what I did. I dug, and then I built. Yeah. Why F5 first? I guess the idea was just to like make it easier to get my town as quickly as possible. There's no town scoring, so you want to, in general, all other things being equal, you prefer to score your towns early so you can reinvest the economic bonus you get from them. And the kind of standout location for my town is like where the sanctuary is going to be, right? And we don't want to necessarily, we definitely don't want to go to G6 because then I won't be able to build two towns without prematurely connecting up. Because if my sanctuary is here, this one has to be at least 4 tiles, which is these 4. And if I've already built G6, that's connected. So if I take G6 as part of my sanctuary town, the only way to get 2 towns is to bridge up to B6, which is quite expensive. So the natural place for this town is here, possibly without I-10, depending on how big I make these structures. But probably including I-10, right? Like a sanctuary, a trading post, and 2 dwellings seems pretty normal. So I took F5 first to get more leech. I don't know if I really want more leech, though. I feel like it would have been better for me to take H7 first. Maybe I was thinking that I wouldn't have any place to build a trading post in this town yet, and I wanted to make sure I had this available. It depends on where my workers are going, but I assume I'll be able to build at least one more dwelling before this trading post comes down, which means I should have built H7 first, I think. Anyway, my plan worked out, and the Chaos Magicians did choose to take no further actions. They did not take a power action. They're saving it up and getting the first pass so that they can take whatever power action they want. At the beginning of the next round. And they took, sort of unsurprising favors. Earth, well, I don't know. Water too? Yeah, okay. There's good incentive to stock up on water. And this is an alright income favor. Usually Fire 1 is one of the strongest income favors. I think it probably would be here also. But at the moment, there's a lot of cult justification for taking earth and water. So I think it's reasonable for them to take these as their income tiles, sure. But their pass, as I hoped, means that I get the sanctuary scoring tile. And enter round 2 with a very comfortable position to build a sanctuary. And am I doing anything else this round? It looks like I'm going to dig and build, right? I have a priest, a worker, and 2 coins left over, which, like, if you look over here, you'll find is exactly what a dwelling costs. So that seems like a good thing to do this round. And it means I get dig points as well. I assume H7 is kind of like the only reasonable place to build. But the main question really is, what favor do I take as my second favor tile? And I'm pretty sure I took water 1, right? Just get another scoring favor. It's also being rewarded by the upcoming cult incomes for what that's worth. And there's an upcoming trading post scoring round. Yeah, it's got to be water 1, right? It's going to be a little bit like going to be a little bit cramped for income, specifically coins. But at least I have this. And I'm about to start building some trading posts, so hopefully it'll be okay. But I'm just like trying to I don't know, just like trying to lock in all the scoring opportunities and then build up my economy in a kind of normal Darklings way. If you had to look at the game right now, by the way, who's winning? I'm not really sure. The dwarves have excellent terrain area control, you might say. A very solid income and a sizable number of victory points. So, if I had to guess, I'd say right now the dwarves and I are front runners for this game. The swarmlings are doing fine, and the chaos magicians are doing okay, but you can see their choice to have taken d4 is really like there's some good idiom for this, right? Like it's a thorn in their side, but it's really taking its toll, maybe? They're kind of hemmed in here, right? Where are they going to go? Yeah, c2, a6. You don't really want e6. Oh my god. 3 digs. No, it's 2 digs away, right? Yeah, you have to go through yellow. So it's not the horrible, but I just feel like they would have been so much happier on d7. On the other hand, they got a lot of leech here, so who knows? And they have an okay income. Like, my income is definitely kind of... Is it the worst of everybody? Not exactly, but it's not great. And I do have the 2 priests, which is more than anyone else. But mostly my advantage is, like, I have 2 favorite tiles, and I'm Darklings. So what else do I do this round? I just build a dwelling. Should I do it quickly or slowly? I think I do it slowly, right? Just because I have a precious bonus tile I don't want to give anyone else? No, wrong. Wrong way to think. I'm not getting out of this round last, I don't think. So someone else is getting this. And I would like, if possible, to secure bonus 7 for the trading post scoring. Probably, right? Although, I mean, how many trading posts am I really going to be able to build next round? I might have to stretch my resources to build even 2. So maybe I just take the priest. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I didn't dig. I sent a priest. Oh, how smart. I'm such a smart boy. I sent a priest to Earth to get some coin income so that I can build some more trading posts next round. Yes, very good. And now I can't dig and build because I don't have any digs. But I'll have an easy route to 2 trading posts next round, and that makes bonus 7 look really nice. Right? Oh, look at me go. I don't know. Is it like the best play that's ever been made? No. But I felt pretty clever. It feels a little bit bad delaying getting my 1 worker income. But I think it was very much worth it because it means that I get 2 more coins. I'm like, over the course of the game, delaying a dwelling by 1 round costs you 1 worker, right? Whereas delaying this by 1 round costs me 2 coins. Because this is only a one-time income, so delaying it by 1 round is the same as never getting it. And so it's like, would I rather have 2 coins and 2 cult steps? Or would I rather have like 1 worker? And not a dwelling, because I'm getting the dwelling anyway. Well, but if I count the priest, if I count the cult steps, I should also count the dig and the 2 VPs. So like, would I rather have 2 coins, 2 cult steps, 2 coins and 2 cult steps, or would I rather have a dig, a worker, and 2 VP? When you put it that way, it sounds better to have the worker, doesn't it? But I think that coins are going to be so scarce this game, as they often are. And coming up next round, I have an excellent funnel to turn coins into points. So I shouldn't worry so much about the points I give up. And as Darklings, I'm sort of suffused with digs. They're just all around me. I shouldn't worry too much about giving up the dig either. So I think this was the right play. Yeah, I like this. And the other players do some stuff, and here we are. I don't know. A stronger player would be paying more attention to the stuff the other players are doing. Speaking of which, I didn't write anything in my notes yet, right? I think my first note was in round 3. Yeah. But like, I mean, look at the dwarves, right? Look at them. They're everywhere. And they have like a ton of points too. So Eljaz is doing great. This is early enough in the season that Eljaz had not yet demonstrated, two strong wins or anything like that. I was just kind of going off everyone's rating and being like, yeah, Eljaz is doing pretty well this game, but that's the second lowest rated player in the season, not counting myself, or second lowest including me, lowest not counting me. And so I was like, not that worried about Eljaz seeming to put on a good show. I figured, oh, okay, yeah, do well here, but you'll do badly in another game, so I don't really mind. But Eljaz just has this massive supply of resources, plenty of points, Earth 1, and incoming late game scoring. I think Eljaz is doing great. If at some point I looked at this game to decide who the front runner was, I think this was round 4 or 5 or something, and I had just sort of assumed it was me because obviously I'm the best player in the world and I'm playing the best faction in the world, so how could I be losing? But at some point, not too long from now, I looked at the game again and was like, oh, no, Eljaz is in great shape to win, huh? Anyway, no spoilers about how the game actually ended. That's just what I was thinking. So what are we doing in this round? Not taking any power actions right now, that's for sure. Probably building 2 trading posts. That's where these guys are going. Yeah, so I see. It does matter that I didn't take H7. All this time... Well, no. I get one more dig, right? I get to build H7 trading post is my round, basically. And I can send a priest to water if I want to get a dig. Yeah, I do that. I remember. Not only does it look like a good play, I remember doing it. So I can predict with some certainty that that's what will happen in the replay. I got a trading post. I sent a priest. I got a trading post. And I built here. The order is not super important. I did send the priest in early just in case the dwarves and the chaos magicians made a run on it and these priest spots dried up, but that wasn't very likely to happen. I think I'm basically done for the round, right? Yeah, I got I could burn 3 to take a 4-point power action, but the good ones are all gone, so I suspect it is pass. But there is something I wanted to look at here, which is Eljaz's action on this turn. The dwarves, right? Here they are, 10 coins, 4 workers. Trading post round, right? And I believe the dwarves' first trading post is especially good. I think their 4th is especially good. It's not the 3rd, right? Yeah, they get extra coins for their 1st and 4th trading post. And so I'm kind of looking at this being it's a trading post scoring round. You have 4 workers and 10 coins. And you don't have water 1, but you're still getting points for them. And it'll finish a town early, which you can use to reinvest in whatever you want. I was sure Eljaz was going to take D7 and F6 trading posts to get a town this round. And then, I don't know, take the worker town maybe because you just threw away all your dwellings. Something like that. But that's not what happened. Eljaz just passed. And that was a real downer for me because... Oh, right. Also, I thought, another reason for Eljaz to build those trading posts is that you might very well get my pass tile. Well, probably not. Not if you build 2 trading posts. Someone else will get it. But Eljaz just passed to grab the dwelling scoring and some coins. But just the 2 that were Or no, there's 1 point on one. Jeez, 1 coin on it. Of course, if you're the first to pass, you always get a coin, at least one. Just pass to get even more resources and get ready for a really big dwelling round, I guess. But it's like, you already have 4 dwellings down. How big a round can it be? I don't know. Kind of seems weird. So I don't know. I wrote this down as like a... Did I put a bunch of question marks next to it? No. But I feel like I should have. I was like very puzzled by this play. Now my recollection is they made it look good, right? But it would not have occurred to me in this position to pass and take that bonus tile. So we'll see how well they can justify it. Anyway, it leaves me ready to pass, and which of these do I want? I remember the one that I took, but I don't know necessarily why. So let's look at what I'm going to do, I guess, in the next round. I'm getting a dig, and I'll have 2 priests, and it's a dwelling round. Boy, those are really lighting up some neurons in my brain, telling me something I must be doing, right? We're going to finish this town, and then try to build as many dwellings as we can up here for a bunch of points each. So, what's my income looking like not counting pass tiles? I just had 2 workers. Ugh. Yeah, and 2 priests. This is... I'm having trouble justifying the actions that I know are coming. They look kind of suspect, to be honest. I don't know. I think I can make it work. Yeah. Okay. So we have 3 digs coming, right? Total. Our cult spade and 2 priest incomes. And we have 2 workers. We would like to be able to build as many dwellings as possible. The other resource that we have is a lot of power in the upper bowls here. So what? Some questions to ask then about the next round when deciding which bonus tile to pass for are: what do I want to do with my power? What do I want to take for my town tile? And what do the dwarves want to take with their power? Because if I want a power action that they also want, I should not assume that I will get it. And, you know, what do the dwarves want to do with their power? Probably coins? Probably? Like, they have a lot, right? 18. But they also have 9 workers. I don't know. They might want the worker power action. I'm not sure. But the coin power action is generally highly desirable. And I bet the dwarves can find a way to spend all these coins. It's usually no problem to get rid of coins. Whereas me, the power actions that I would love to take if nobody were to interrupt are... Notice that I have, as I said, 3 digs and 2 workers. Well, it sure would be nice to have more workers, right? A power action could give me 2 more workers. But then I have more workers than priests. I can't spend one. Oh boy, it sure would be nice if I could take a priest power action too. That was kind of what I was thinking as I was contemplating my passes this round. And I don't know how realistic it is, but I kind of was like, also, I'm really low on coins to do all this. If I want, my dream scenario would be to build 4 dwellings after taking the priest power action and the worker power action. But I'll need 8 coins for that. And the only bonus tile that'll get them anywhere close to that is actually the cult action. So that's the one I took, hoping that I could, like, maybe get those 2 power actions. And by the way, if I can't get any one of them, then whatever, I'll just make up for it with my town, right? That was sort of what I hoped for. And I remarked in the chat that this bridge to C4 seemed very bold. I didn't remark now because I thought the Swarmlings were going to spend some power and dig it. But they didn't do that. They passed. I don't know. Some more stuff happened. Everybody spent their cult digs. What all did happen, actually? Oh, nothing. It was just a bridge, and then the Swarmlings and I passed. They took the trading post tile from me, by the way. Oh, I was actually quite impressed with the Swarmlings this game. They somehow managed to go just like back and forth between stronghold scoring, trading post scoring tiles. So I feel like we should have somehow like not let them have such a beautiful setup, but they got it. And the Chaos Magicians just like took some priest action or some cult actions, and then finally took stronghold scoring, which they're happy to get, of course. Yeah, like I don't know. If I had known the dwarves were going to pass so quickly, I would have spread out these dig and build actions, aiming to get a to deny bonus 7 to the Swarmlings. I think make them pass to get something less desirable. But since what I wanted this bonus tile. I was planning to build a bunch of dwellings, right? And I needed coins. So I dug and built quickly, figuring I'll just get it before anyone else passes, but then the dwarves just passed out of the blue. But anyway, so actually the Swarmlings passed without building C4, and I was like, oh man, the dwarves, they want C4 to connect up, right? And now you've made it even juicier for them to rush in and take it. Maybe this is part of why I was thinking I could get some power actions, is that even if the dwarves do want it, it's more urgent for them to grab C4. And let's also, by the way, review the transformations made around the map as everybody spent their cult spades. I didn't notice this. What the hell happened to C2? Oh, I'm looking at it backwards. Okay. Yeah. This is the original state. I'm confused. Oh, right. The Chaos Magicians get 2 digs because they made it up to 8. Yeah. So they turned C2 and G1 red, and the Swarmlings took D1, and I took I10. So I had not yet noticed that G1 was like a very critical Chaos Magician square. I saw the bridge to C4 and thought, man, if the dwarves could get them, that would be so cool. But what I failed to notice was that G1 is actually like just as important to the Chaos Magicians as C4 is to the Swarmlings. So the dwarves are kind of spoiled for choice here, and it's a kind of a bummer to have to tunnel when you haven't built your stronghold, but you do it once or twice, it's fine. And to take G1 is a key space for the Chaos Magicians, and also like pretty good for the dwarves, right? It opens up I3. It gives you access to this region if you end up wanting it. And the dwarves already have all the space they need for 2 towns, so they could maybe go for 3. Right? They built a pretty sizable economy. It could happen. If they, like, upgrade this and take fire too, maybe? I don't know. Not right now, probably in next round, but anyway, something to think about. And it just, like, struck me as very frustrating, I'm sure, to the Chaos Magicians to spend their digs here and here, and then, boop, the dwarves take G1 anyway. But, you know, here's the 2 players kind of having to fight a bit, right? They each spent a dig, and at the end result is that G1 was back to gray again. Oh well. And the Chaos Magician's town to E8 E6 hasn't been a disaster, but you'd much rather get, like, access to some more coastal tiles, you know, through here or here or whatever. And now there's an ordering question on my turn. First, observe that the dwarves took the single dig action, so they don't have as much power as before. And so now I need to look at the other players and ask, do any of them want the power actions that I want, right? The worker and the workers and the priest. And I kind of, like, the problem is I want to spend 7 power, and I can't do that yet. I don't have enough power. I could spend 3 and burn 2, but that's only 5. And I'm not planning to get any more cult steps this round from the resources that I have. So I won't be gaining power that way. Maybe via leech, I could get lucky, but the dwarves don't seem too inclined to do stuff around here, I don't think. They'll maybe do some tunneling here, but it's going to be expensive to accept that power. So really, it would be kind of nice if the town that I take could give me some power. But I don't want 8 power. I just want, like, 4-ish. And so, happily, there is a town tile that gives me exactly 4 power right now, and also does some other cool stuff. Namely, Town 6, the 2 cult step town. So this marks the 3rd of my games in which the first town tile that I took was Town 6. And in both of the other games, it wasn't a disaster, maybe, but it didn't work out as well as it's supposed to. In those games, there were 2 cult income rounds left. Well, both of those games I took it in round 3. And there was cult income that round, priest income the next round, and then cult income again in round 5. So that sort of makes the cult town weaker because you get less income from it. Here, I'm getting the same amount of income as those times it was bad, but at least I get it a little bit sooner. And I get the power, which I kind of needed right now, and also, like, competing, it gets me some really important seeming cult steps, I feel like. So, I don't know. Every time I took it, I felt like it was good. And in retrospect, it turned out bad, but I still feel like this one looks good right now. So I decided that nobody really wanted the power actions I wanted, and I could afford to take my town tile before taking either of my power actions, although this is quite... I feel this is quite risky. You know, if I end up not being able to get them, I guess it won't be the end of the world. I can, like, convert power to a worker directly and just be sort of sad. And in fact, you know, the Swarmlings took the coin power action, which is what I predicted, and the Chaos Magicians were not really in the market for workers at the moment. But you do want to, like, now I want to take one of those power actions, right? And then the other one. And so you should choose which one do you think is more likely that someone else will want. And I don't remember my justification, but I think I decided workers, right? Like, the Swarmlings don't seem to want either, but they definitely don't want priests. And the Chaos Magicians, I don't know, probably don't want either, but I don't see why they would want a priest. They're already, like, locked up here. If they want a priest, they can take it next round. So I assume I took the worker first. Nope. I took the priest first. Who knows why? Oh, I leased 5, which... Oh, right. Because I was topped up after my cult income, it was actually leeching 1. I took the priest first. I'm not sure why. I guess I looked at both of the other players and was like, well, they have enough workers. I don't see what they would want a priest for, but maybe they want one. Okay, fine. And the Swarmlings and Chaos Magicians advanced their shipping to start, like, a little dwelling spree this round. The Chaos Magicians are really sad about G1, because not only is there one fewer place for them to build a dwelling, they no longer have a launching point to E3 and I5 this round, which is the round they want to build dwellings. So they have to advance shipping again, making it very unpleasant for them. I have to say, I think G1 killed the Chaos Magicians. Maybe they were in bad shape before this. It didn't seem great to me. But after G1, they're toast. It's just very, very inconvenient for them. They have to spend a bunch of resources they don't want to at a time they can't afford to. And so finally, in fact, I get the worker power action as well. It's all going swimmingly. And I'm all set to build. Look at that. I have 3 digs, 3 workers, and 7 coins. Amazing. Enough to build dwellings in all of these spaces. But I think I was building slowly here, right? No, that one was fast. I don't know why. But then slow. It's a mystery. I don't know what I was up to. I can't see any compelling reason. What past tile was I racing for? What did I built and then I changed my mind? I don't know. I think my plan was to just like build everything as fast as possible and maybe take the priest? Question mark? They all... I don't know. I feel like I should be going slow this round because the 2 best bonus tiles are still being held. And I eventually did slow down. And now was a really exciting and interesting decision point. Right? This was my decision point? Yeah. I realized I was not such a fan of my original plan of building all 3 dwellings. It sounds, well, 4 dwellings, counting this one. It sounds great since it's a dwelling scoring round. But I was trying to work out, is there some way that I can take advantage of the extra cult steps given to me by my cult town to get more water, to get more priests? And I could just send a priest to water, and then I kind of get the priest back next round, isn't? And, you know, that's nice. But I don't know. So I ended up spending like 2 hours writing up plans, 3 alternative plans for like rounds 4 through 6 for myself, to see what the influence would be of those 3 possible plans that I had. The first plan was the one that I started with, of just build everywhere, and then kind of do reasonable seeming stuff till the end. The second plan was like send a priest here. What else did I write? Send priest to water. Yeah, and I don't remember exactly what I was planning to do along with sending a priest to water, but it was kind of just like pass, I think, right? It was like build 1 more dwelling, obviously here, but then instead of digging D8 and building there, send a priest to water, and you can delay building D8 until the dwelling round comes, perhaps. Or you can build D8 in round 5 to have more workers for the dwelling round, something like that. But anyway, just sort of pass with the worker this round. And I ended up coming up with a third plan that seemed a little crazy. But I planned it out, and it actually worked out better than the other two plans. So I don't know, if you're an enthusiastic Terra Mystica player, you might have a look at my resources now and try to come up with to see what other plan I might be considering other than dig and build or send priest and pass. I have 5 coins, 2 workers, a priest, and my power looks like 1 in bowl 2 and 1 in bowl 3, and I have this cult step coming. And this is the board state. So if you want to think about that, go ahead, pause the video, come up with a plan. Okay, great. I'll assume you've unpaused or didn't want to make a plan. What I decided to do was try to get a temple in this round. And the main... There were a couple of thorny points with that plan. The first was I really wanted to finish my town in round 5 just because, well, not so much about finishing my town as about getting... Gosh, how to even describe the ways in which this plan worked out? I would really like one of the bonus tiles these guys have. And if I just dig and then just build and then pass, I don't know, I can probably get one from the Swarmlings, who look like they're probably just going to build a trading post. Or from the Chaos Magicians. I don't know which one, but I'll probably get one of them, and they're both great for me. But I ended up doing something that I feel like almost never happens as a Darkling player, which is I converted a priest to a worker. Ugh. So let's see what happens. I built F7 first, of course, and the Chaos Magicians passed first, so they got a crummy scoring, a bonus tile. Well, okay, the dig's probably good for them, I suppose, but it's not a scoring tile, which is what I want. And the Swarmlings... they finished a town, that's right. Which actually means that if I just dig and then just build, I probably actually don't get their bonus tile. They get to go, pass last. Oh, but then I get this bonus tile, so I guess it's fine either way, whatever. Well, if I get this, and they go last, they don't get a scoring tile? I don't know, that doesn't seem so great. But so my problem is now I don't have enough workers to build a temple, and I also don't have enough coins. But I have this cult step here that's going to get me to 7 water, which turns out to be important. So I spent my cult step on water, and now the Swarmlings are out. They took the power and the worker. And now my big coup de grace, I convert the priest to a worker, 2 power to coins, and I build a temple taking water 2. So this is questionable. I don't know. It seemed cool and not wrong. I compared this to the kind of natural just build everything, and all the way through the end of round 6. Again, kind of hazy planning because you don't know exactly what everyone else is going to do. But the result of this is that I have 4 fewer points. Building this way, I get 4 fewer direct points. So I get 1 less dwelling or something. But I get way better cults from doing this, and it seemed worthwhile. And in particular, converting a priest to a worker sucks, but this is an occasion when a worker can give you back a priest because you build a temple with it. So, and really it's giving you back 2 priests because the temple gives you a favor that gives you water that gives you a priest. So, it seemed reasonable to me. And plus, this was a perfect time to sneak by the Chaos Magicians who had already passed and get that, where is it? Well, I already took my... Hello? Shouldn't I be at... Oh, it did that again where it split my... The history link splits my turn in 2. I took the water to action and chose to advance 1 on water, but it isn't showing me having advanced on water yet. So I snuck by them. I'm actually at 10 water here. And then, of course, I'm passing for the trading post scoring. Oh, or dwelling? No, trading post. For 2 reasons. 1, it gives you more workers, and 2, I love trading posts. There's been kind of a theme in my Darkling games, for some reason, that I always seem to get a ton of points from trading posts. Via trading post scoring, trading post bonus tile, water 1. Just seems like a thing that I do. And so I have now 6 workers, which I can just barely squeeze out this town with. So that was one of the things I was thinking about in this round. It's like, can I still get the town in time? I would like to. Because I need to be able to spend... Oh, yeah, like I gained... By the way, my priest income was 5 from this whole plan, right? So that was like... I only have space for 5, but it's pretty cool to be getting 5 priests in one round. So I need somewhere to spend all these priests. And to do that, I could go this way, but that's still only like 4 priests. And so I wanted to get some shipping this round so I could like dig out B6 or something. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Just so I don't waste any priests. So I really wanted to get this town finished, and I'm rather short on coins to build a dwelling and 2 trading posts. But I did actually make it happen somehow. It's a mystery to me. I don't know how I did it. I must have gotten the coin action? I don't know. Bizarre. Anyway, we're coming into round 5. I'm going to take a break here, and I'll be back to you in a minute. All right, I'm back. These Terra Mystica review videos get a bit long. So I have to drink a lot of water because I'm talking so much. So I usually have to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle. Anyway, so the main question, I guess, for me in this round is how the hell did I get this many coins? And I think it must have been via some big leech from the dwarves. Like, I think I leached 4 at some point here, maybe? For E9? No, they never... I don't know. I believe, though, actually, I'm remembering, at some point in this game, I was offered 9 leech, which I think is the most I've ever been offered. I turned it down. Right, once I make this a trading post, and the dwarves then upgrade this, it's like... Ugh, gross. Anyway, so how on earth do I get all these coins? Don't I need, like, 6 more coins than I have to get a town? I do, and I'm pretty sure I built a town, so... But also, look at this! Dwarves! Just gigantic piles of resources again! How do they keep doing it? Right? Like... They passed early in round 3, giving themselves a bunch of leaving themselves a bunch of resources for round 4. But where do they come up with all this shit for round 5? I mean, I don't know. I guess they had 10 worker income. That would do it, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for having just being alive, and 2 for their bonus tile. Okay. And yeah, they just floated 12 coins. I don't know. Something weird is going on with the dwarves. I don't know where they're getting all their stuff. Someone check they're not just borrowing stuff out of the box, huh? Anyway. So I guess in a funny sense, I'm sort of playing a slightly cult-oriented Darklings. I said at the beginning that I don't know how to do that, and I always play Dig Darklings. I've sent 2 priests to the cults, and I got water too. And a cult town. I'm trying, but I'm still well behind most of the players on most of the cults, so I don't know. Anyway, what do I do with this? I just want to see what I come up with. It's a fire income round, so sending priests to fire might be cool, but yeah. So, I don't know. Let's find out, I guess. I sent a priest to air, locking in the 2 spot here, and trying to contest the last cult. Like, I have, good cult steps, right? I have the cult favor, and these guys don't. So my idea was to catch up to them while also gaining 1 power. And look at that, the coin action's gone. So unsurprisingly, I didn't get it. How the hell did I come up with all these coins? I guess I also used my cult step on Earth at some point. No, I took more air. Oh, yeah, sure. That's also worth 2. Yeah, duh. And then I start digging and building? No, I built a trading post. And I got 1 leech from the dwarves who built upgraded H8 here. So they're kind of, it seems to me, setting up for a possible 3rd town in the bottom right, which is pretty cool. And they took fire too. Where is it? Further signaling that that's the plan. So good for them. Seems good. And they got their stronghold in this round, which made the tunnel to H8 more palatable. Or did they tunnel that last round? Oh, they did. They tunneled it last round. Okay. Anyway, so I got a little bit more power. Do I finally have enough yet? I seem to. Where did this all come from? Oh, from just taking cult steps. Yeah, I got 3 power from this cult. I see. And now I have 5, almost 6 power, which I can convert into 6 coins from my 2 trading posts. Amazing. I just need 1 leech from the dwarves, and I somehow thought they were going to give it to me? Maybe? Maybe I can do something sneaky, like... I don't know. Anyway, dig and build. Trading post. Oh, hang on. I've already built one of the trading posts. Oh, right. So, sorry? Where did all this come from? I need 8 more coins, don't I? And I can gain 4 power from cult steps, but that's only 2, 3, 4 here. And I get 1 more from leeching from the dwarves. But where does the last power come from? Did I end up having to convert a priest to a coin or something here? Or a worker? Am I missing something? I gotta watch carefully for what they... Oh, I leached 4 here. Yes, I thought there was some time when I leached 4 and I had just missed it, and that's what it was. Okay. Yes, so this leech 4 was very important because it let me finish my town in time to hit that deadline of being able to upgrade my shipping. Got it. Okay. I was like, I remember gaining some power, but not enough to do what I wanted, and then I was able to do what I wanted somehow. That's why. Okay, so I dug this out and I built it. And I was thinking for a long time that I would be taking the shipping tile here because I'm broke and I need an outlet for my 3 priests. And I was kind of considering, actually, did I write anything down about this? No. I was kind of considering, should I go up this way or should I try to go out this way to find my new territory? Up north looks kind of more appealing to me, I think. For a couple of reasons. First, there's like more black tiles available up here. And second, these are tiles that the swarmlings want. And, denying the swarmlings points seems good. at this point, it still looks to me like L-Jazz is going to win the game, but or it's starting to look. I guess while we're playing round 5, I still believe I'm winning. But the dwarves look like a good contender. And I was just sort of like thinking I didn't really have anything I could do to much annoy the dwarves. But if I could deny points to the swarmlings by taking away like A10 and hopefully B5, that would be nice. Whereas, you know, if I go up here, I can spend 3 digs to get 4 tiles. And over here, I can spend like 3 digs to get 3 tiles. Doesn't seem that appealing, right? And it also has the upside of messing with the swarmlings, perhaps. So I was kind of planning to go up here. And I was like, all right, I'll upgrade my shipping now with the shipping town tile. I have 3 priests. I'll like spend 2 of them here. All right, do I have 2 priests? I have 3. Okay, I'll spend 2 of them here, and like maybe I'll spend 1 here. Maybe I'll float it till next turn. I don't remember exactly what the plan was. They're both possible because I only have 3 priest income. But I realized, like, actually, I should be taking the coin town. We've talked before about how if you have a priest lying around, then the coin town is just a better way to upgrade your shipping than taking the shipping tile. It gives you more points and also some coins. And I kind of have a surplus of priests right now, so I'm reasonably happy to do that. So I take the coin tile after all. And now it's time to spend my priests. Well, okay, advanced shipping first, of course. And it's just me and the Chaos Magicians left in the round, and what they do doesn't really matter. I just like to deny them this trading post scoring tile, just in case that matters somehow. And I was thinking, I was still like, okay, yeah, I'll go up to B6. But I realized, you know, I have plenty of digs. So why don't I actually spend my priests on G4? And then I can still dig and build. I can still get to B6 just as quickly, having dug here. And it's not like I need a bunch of digs up here. I was kind of just like, yeah, I'll take G4, because I'll build there eventually anyway. And maybe the swarmlings will be less prepared for me to march in this way. Right? They won't expect me to come up here because I just spent digs here, was kind of the reasoning behind this. And so I passed, and I took the priest tile. Seems pretty good in the late game for Darklings, especially when it has 2 coins on it. And then I'm looking at things, and I'm realizing, you know, we're getting close to the end of the season. L-Jazz has already won 2 games. If L-Jazz wins a 3rd game, I will not win the season. And we talked about the reasons, the tiebreakers for this in the last episode. And right now, L-Jazz actually looks in the lead. Like, a point lead. And a humongous amount of resources. Less than Swarmlings, but everything's expensive for Swarmlings, so it's pretty similar, I think. And for me, like, yeah, I have 4 priests, and I'm hoping, expecting to connect up my network to be worth something, but it won't be a first place network. The dwarves will be bigger. The swarmlings probably will be smaller. But I'm suddenly realizing that, like, I don't look like I'm getting first place here. And as we talked about in the last video, what that means is that what I really need to do is somehow not let L-Jazz, the dwarves, get first. And I'm looking around for, like, how can I do that? I could try to sabotage the dwarves directly if there were some way to do that. Or I could try to help the swarmlings and the chaos magicians pass them. Either by, like, letting them get more network points. Like, let's say I could dig B5 to blue at some point. Maybe that would be useful. Or something like that. Or even indirectly, just like well, anything I can do to help them, basically. Like, maybe not contest them on a key cult or something. But there's very few things I can do that directly help these guys. And so it's down to, like, taking points away from Eljaz. And I, like, didn't really see any compelling ways to do that. Eljaz acts first in this round. And, so I was really... When Eljaz spent... I wish I could step forward by just the dwarves' turn. I mean, you've now seen what happened, but Eljaz took the shovel. No, why is... I don't know how many rows I'm supposed... Yeah, there we go. They took the double dig power action as their first action of the round to take I-12 and build G3. So they secured this hex and then tunneled here, getting ready to connect up. Oh, I'm only now realizing something that I did not realize. So, okay, they did this to connect up, right? And also dug this to maybe prepare for a third town. And I was like, oh, well, I hate the dwarves. Let's just spend 3 priests on I-9. And this sort of retroactively made my decision to dig G4 instead of B6 way better. Because yellow is not nice for the dwarves to dig to, but it's 2 steps. Whereas black is 3 steps. So by taking G4 last round and I-9 this round, I've suddenly made it way harder for the dwarves to connect up. And I don't know what actually they should have done about it, because when I was like looking at this post hoc, I was like, oh, they double dug somewhere. That was so greedy, just trying to secure some more points. They should have built I-9, the key square, first. But their problem was they actually had 2 key squares, right? They needed G3 and I-9, and no matter which one they take first, I just fuck them on the other, right? You know, pardon my French, pardon my Dwarvish. But they're actually like in trouble at the beginning of round 1, and there's nothing they can do about it, as long as I take my first action to mess with them. So there was something they did in the previous round that was too greedy, and I'm not sure exactly what it was. It might have been pass, actually. Yeah, they had a bunch of coins and workers. They passed. I see. Yeah. They passed early in this round again to... I don't know if it was to secure a bonus tile. This is a very good bonus tile. Or if it was just because they wanted to build their dwellings in the dwelling scoring round or what. But I think they would have been much better off to secure I-9 early. Then I can't take G3 from them. But if they have to take 2 actions to build both of these, I can always take whichever one they don't. Okay, that's a subtlety that I missed. So I dug this out, and now suddenly, like, the dwarves are not going to complete their network. Now, this is not strictly true. It is technically possible for the dwarves to complete their network if they go at it single-mindedly. They have 9 workers. They can't quite triple dig plus build. They're a worker short. But they could advance dig. And since they're planning 3 digs in the future, each advanced dig you do saves you a worker, right? You spend 2 and gain 3. So what they would sort of like is to advance dig twice and then dig one of these out. But as soon as they advance dig once, I'll build on one of these squares. And then if they advance dig again, I'll build on the other one. So the only way they can connect up is by advancing dig a single time, costing 2 workers, then triple dig build, costing 6 plus 1 more, that's 7. And that's their entire round 6, is just like double shovel for a single dwelling, advanced dig, single dwelling, pass. And that's not exactly like something you're thrilled to do when you started the round with this, right? You don't want to build 2 dwellings. 2? Yeah, 2. So I understand them choosing. They chose not to try to connect. I was kind of like worried, are they going to spike me on G6? But again, that's expensive. It's not as expensive for them as connecting up themselves, but they might choose to fight me for G6. Just to deny me my network points. However, as we kind of discussed in the last video, I don't mind coming third, as long as dwarves don't come first. The tournament scoring points, you get 6 points for first, 3 points for second, and 1 point for third. And I just need Eljaz to not get 3 more points than I do. So first, second would be disastrous. Second, third is fine. Second, fourth is also fine because I win on second tiebreaker in that case. So all I need to do is stop Eljaz from winning this game. And, by the way, there's still the last game. The Swarmlings are still playing in the other game. And if they win both of these games, I'll be sad. It is looking, by the way, like 1,000% certain that Swarmlings will win. Now that the Dwarves and I are killing each other, and the Chaos Magicians have just been behind for ages, so the Swarmlings have an easy road to victory. But there's nothing I really can do about that. I think they were always in good shape if nobody messed with them. The Dwarves and I just got into a little territorial dispute that made the victory more severe. So the question then is just like, what else do I do with the rest of my time? I figured, like, what are the dwarves going to do? Build some dwellings, maybe trading posts, because they have trading post scoring, right? Oh, no, they don't. Oh, yeah, build trading posts to let them build more dwellings, maybe? Not sure. I guess this was never going to be a town. I don't really know why they upgraded it. Yeah, when the hell did you upgrade H8 and why? What? H8. Round 5. That's a weird one. Maybe just needed the income from it? I mean, coins more than workers? I don't know. Huh. Needed to free up dwelling space eventually and figured might as well get the coin income, I guess? I don't know. But obviously, since the sanctuary is over here, this could never have been a third town. I don't know, it's a mystery to me. Seems like Fire 2 was not so great then. You could have upgraded G2 and F6 at some point. I think you do end up upgrading F6. And if you hadn't upgraded H8, it would have been easy to upgrade G2. So, anyway, so what am I doing with the rest of my time? I mean, building dwellings and trading posts is good, right? It's a dwelling scoring round. I have Earth 1 and Water 1. I just want to do a bunch of digging and a bunch of building and some upgrading. I have 1 priest left. It's digging out G6 to connect me up. And no one else really wants priest at this stage in the game, so I can take the priest power action once I get enough power. And get another dig on one of these tiles. For another place to put a dwelling. And so I took the dig first in case the dwarves wanted to ruin my life somehow. And what did the dwarves do? They just they upgraded to another trading post so they would have more room for dwellings. Sure, I guess. They have a lot of workers after all. Build here is the plan, I suppose. That leaves them with 3 workers. Yeah. And now I take the priest action, right? Oh, I have, all right, I have to gain some more power first. And I really needed the power, so I took Earth instead of Air, figuring like I'm not really going to beat either of these guys on the cult anyway. They have priests and a desire to be past me. And then I took the priest power action. And I decided to try to do the rest of this round slowly. I was trying to work out what the dwarves might want to do, and it wasn't totally clear to me like how much leech they would need to do the things that they want to do. But they're building this dwelling, and they already built this one. Somehow they have 4 workers left? Where did all those workers come from? I guess they just had a lot and didn't spend as many as I thought they would. Oh, right. I was thinking this one was going to cost 2, but of course it only costs 1. This one costs 2. Sure. So I was kind of like very hazy about what the dwarves were going to do. I don't know what I thought they were going to do, but I was obviously wrong. Maybe build a temple to take Air 3 or something was my plan for them? I don't know. But so I was like, whatever they're doing, I just want to build slowly and prioritize not giving them leech in case it helps them do something better. So the idea was to dig out I8, and then on the turn after that, build on I8, and then build H5, build G4. Building these 2 last because they give the dwarves leech. But that's not what happened. I dug this out, and then the dwarves dug it back. They spent 4 workers tunneling and digging it, and I was like, oh my god. This is exactly what they wanted to do. So the dwarves and I, we had a little chat in the chat about like, you know, we were discussing like how the league was going, and like, hey, I kind of congratulated Eljaz at some point when I thought in round 5 when I thought he was going to win this game, or at the beginning of round 6 I think actually, and then he like I realized I could cut off his connection. I felt bad for saying like congratulations and then fuck you, but like sorry, no harm meant if you're watching. So the dwarves thought that their most important thing to do was to tunnel and dig. Just trade in those 4 workers for 4 points. And that it was just made better by blocking one of my squares by digging. I think this is incorrect. I think the dwarves' highest priority should have been to dig one of my squares. And the fact that it was a tunnel just makes it better. You have to plan out what the other players are doing pretty carefully to see why that is. Because right now, I have 15 on network, tied with, I assume, Swarmlings. No, tied with Chaos Magicians. And the Swarmlings are behind us. But if you plan out what everyone's going to do, you'll realize that, supposing the dwarves let me keep this tile, that the Chaos Magicians will get 2 more spaces. They're out of coins and workers, but they have enough power and priests to build A9 and D6, getting up to 12 on network. And if I get all 3 of these spaces, I'll be at 13. So that's costing me 3 points just for connecting up, plus the 4 points that I get for building here is like 7. And the Swarmlings right now are in 3rd on network, but they actually they have enough resources to finish off this town and then get another build over here, and they'll be at like, I forget if it's 12 or 13 on network, but they're very competitive. So that dumping me down from 13 to 12 cost me 3 points against both the Swarmlings and the Chaos Magicians. And since I'm the only rival for the dwarves at this point, it's way, way better to deny me like 10 points which is what digging away one of my squares does, than it is to gain 4 for yourself. So I think tunneling was not important. Digging for me was important. The problem was that I gave them an opportunity to do both. If I'd thought more carefully about what their priorities were, I would have done a dig and build as a single action on this space. I still don't get the network points. But the dwarves get 4 fewer points because they don't get to tunnel. And it's really, really close in terms of, like, you know, how the dwarves and I are going to compare. But it seems pretty clear the swarmlings will be ahead of us and the chaos magicians will be behind us. So those 4 points, you know, in the grand scheme of things, they don't really matter because I just need to make sure that Eljaz doesn't get first, and I've done that. And I'd like to avoid getting fourth, but it's not the end of the world if I do. So, okay, the dwarves took this back from me, and I was like, nice, good move, didn't see that coming. So I just built the other 2 places that I can build, and I was just, maddeningly 1 leech short. I would have loved to build another trading post, but I couldn't do it. And as we prepare for the final pass, I'm ahead of the dwarves by 6. But again, each of... No. Right. I have 15 for networking because the Chaos Magicians have caught up to me. But the Swarmlings are going to pass both of us by building 13. So I'll actually only have 9 on network, not 15. And in fact, will therefore exactly tie the dwarves for second place. So a really exciting conclusion, I think. I was in a better position than I realized. I didn't realize they needed both of these squares and that I can threaten to take either of them. But getting shipping was really, really important, and not for the reason that I thought, right? I kind of thought, yeah, I need some more places to build, which is true, but like I could have built here. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. The problem is there's not that many diggable squares here, as many as there are outside, but, you know, then I wouldn't have had to spend a priest on shipping, and I could have, I don't know, done something else. But the really, really important thing, the reason to get shipping is to deny the dwarves from getting both of these squares. They kind of, what's the word I'm thinking of? I'm looking for something like, kind of like gaily, blithely. I think I'm looking for blithely. They assumed that they could get both of these squares, hexes, and I realized just in time how important it was to stop them from getting them both. I had to sort of also assume they would be connecting up. I don't know. I think, though, also, if they had seen ahead to the fact that I can cut them off here, I think the dwarves would have done better to take d6 instead of g3 as their connecting hop, and spend their second dig turning e8 red. The Chaos Magicians are still a ways away from getting here. I think they're maybe on... I think they're only on c2, honestly. Not even a6 yet. And so they just have to find 1 dig to connect up on e8. And it's a little unpleasant because they have to spend 3 digs connecting instead of just 1. But it's something that I can't prevent them from doing. The Swarmlings can, but they're not really that inclined to. Neither of them are that excited. I don't know. Maybe the Swarmlings would try. Because they, I think, had already advanced dig at the beginning of the round. I'm not sure. But this would have been a safer but more conservative approach that gives you fewer points if it works, but is more likely to work. I don't know. It depends on what you think my priorities are, and you have to examine the whole league to realize that what I care about is murdering you. So I'm happy with how this game went. Kind of embarrassed about that I8 blunder at the end there that cost me the free and clear second place. But I was happy with my plan to get to win the water cult, and I actually did way better on cults than I usually do as Darklings, right? I got, I think, 12 cult points. 8, 10, 12, yeah. Usually I don't get very many. But I had to pay a lot for them, right? I had to take the cult town and the cult favor and send 3 priests to the cults. So I don't know. It seemed okay. And I got a network score as well, which I sometimes don't. But as I said, I don't know, I got 31 points just from trading posts this game. Crazy, right? I seem to have some affinity for trading posts, whereas dwellings seem to be the easy way. And I got a bunch of points for those too. But I didn't really build that amazing of an economy. Right? My network was of size 12, which is not that impressive. But, I got what I needed, which was that Eljaz did not win. And the rest of the league is not yet finished. There's still 1 game left. It's very, very nearly done. You guys have seen it before, but let's revisit. And has anything happened since last time I looked? No. There's a couple of this game features the very fastest player in the league. Bayou, I think, has been playing even faster than I have. If you look at the games, how much time everyone has spent. Eye of the Storm has been kind of in the middle, and Vlek and Seb have both been, on the slow side. So this game's been taking a while to wrap up. But one thing I want to look at in this game is what the hell happened? Why does everybody have so little stuff? Right? I'm looking at the network scores, and it's 8 structures is all the halflings could put together. And they're not going to build anymore. They could build a dwelling, but it's better to advance ship. The mermaids, 11 structures. Darklings, 10 structures. And the Orin made it up to 11, but I don't quite understand because I don't know. These seem low. And everybody did it. So it must have just been some kind of setup that encouraged building a small number of structures for some reason. I don't get it. It's just weird. And mermaids took fire 2 to complete 2 towns. Orin took fire 2, and they've completed 3, so good work for them. But they had to build 2 naked trading posts, which stinks. The Darklings, I think, are making the best of it. They managed 2 full towns. Not going to connect up, but they scored a lot of points on the board, as Darklings often do. 22 faction points. 8 dwellings. Yeah, makes sense. They have 10. But that's just so low. I don't know. And the halflings ended up in their they went crazy on digging in round 4, of course, but somehow didn't manage to make use of it all. They looked like they were trying for a 3rd town, but they barely managed 2. Right, they also took fire 2 and got only 2 towns. So I don't know. I'm not going to step through this whole game to analyze what happened. And I don't even mean to say that the players were obviously playing badly. It's just looking at the end state. It's I don't know. It looks like a hurricane came through here. Everybody has less stuff than they should. And so in the last video, I talked about my estimated scores for these players. I didn't really mean to look at the info, but whatever. And there have been a few more turns played since then. And it's getting closer and closer, and I'm still a little nervous. I think that Seb FFT is coming in second by 2 points. It's so close. But, right, in Seb FFT's next round, you're going to have to advance ship. And that gets you 3 points for shipping. 3 points for your pass tile, that's 6. And it also gets you from 3 to 6 on network. Immediately, it'll get you from 3 to like 12 because you'll be ahead of the Orin, but then they'll advance ship and it'll all cancel out. So they're getting 9 points for shipping, minus 1 for resources. So they're getting 8 more points, 124. I'm pretty confident that's their final score. The mermaids are passing, but their final score is not 124. It's 121. Oh no, they're not passing. They're taking a cult action. So they're going to advance on air. But the Darklings are also going to advance on air, so that cancels out. So they're getting 124, staying even on cults, but they're going to lose 3 on network when the Orin advance ship 3 times, which is what I think they will do. Because it's worth to the Orin, it's worth 9 points just on the shipping track, and then it's also worth 15 points on network, right? So you don't often get 24 points for 12 coins and 3 priests, I don't think. So I think that's got to be better than anything else they're doing. So the mermaids are going to lose to the halflings by 3. The Darklings are going to lose all 12 of their network points. And they're going to spend their resources on a trading post. And I think that's all they can build. Even if they gain 2 more power from advancing on air, they still only have 3, 4, 5 power available, which is enough for a trading post and then 2 coins, which they can't use. Unless someone builds adjacent to them, which won't happen. So they're going to lose 12 points and both of their resource points. That's 14, bringing them to 118. But they get to build a trading post, which is worth 8 points. Right? The scoring is 3, the favor is 3 more, and the pass tile is 2 more. That's 8. So they'll be at 126, I think. And the Orin, well, they're going to top out 1 more cult, getting 3 more power, which means they have effectively 5 here. So they have 4, 7, 12 available coins, and 4 available priests. I can't see any better way for them to make use of that than upgrading shipping, especially given that they've spent all of their trading post supply, and they have neither dwelling scoring nor trading post scoring. So I think that what they do is they spend all their resource points to advance ship 3 times. They have 1 priest left over, but there's nothing you can do with 1 priest when you're already at the top of all 4 cults. So they spend all their resources. They get 9 points, and then they get 15 more for tying for first on network. That's 24. But remember, they're losing 4 for network. That's 20. So I think the Orin are going to have 128 this game. I don't think I'm missing anything. So it's extremely close. Orin get 128. Darklings get 126. Mermaids get 121. And Halflings get 124. So 7 points separate first and last. But I think what I care about is that Halflings come third, which should be enough. If we look at the scorings, Seb FFT is 5 points behind me and needs a first to win. But the Orin and the Darklings, I think, are both going to be ahead. So it's a little embarrassing, given that in the last video I predicted that Darklings would come first. It would be close between Mermaids and Halflings, but Mermaids would beat them. And then Orin would come last, when in fact it's Orin coming first, then Darklings, then Halflings, then Mermaids. I don't know. I feel like some of the action is taken. Well, okay. So first of all, I did not correctly identify the best actions for these players last time I looked. I said the halflings would take the shipping town. That's wrong. They should do exactly what they did. They should take the power town, which is the best income town left, and then spend the power as coins on advancing shipping, which is worth a couple more points. Maybe like one more point, I think. No. It lets them turn their priest into 2 points. And that's, I don't know. Right now, a priest would actually do better than that by passing the mermaids, maybe, but the mermaids might choose to like fight you back, so. In terms of passing the mermaids, sending a priest to Earth and taking the shipping town is just as good. But in terms of competing with the other players, which is what you need to do, the halflings did the right thing by taking the power town. And I was not sure whether the Orin would build a second unsupported trading post or whether they would try digging A11. The mermaids took the spade action and dug somewhere to increase their network size and build a dwelling. I had sort of thought that they wouldn't do that. I thought they would build a trading post and use their priest on something. I forget if they could afford to advance ship or if they should have just tried to stay ahead of halflings or darklings on a cult or something. I think that would have resulted in a little bit more points, but I didn't. I don't remember if I've done the math, and if I have, I don't remember it. But anyway, it's been a really exciting league, and I'm really looking forward to the season being over, because then I'll know for sure that I've won. I can stop holding my breath about this last game I have no influence on. But with any luck, we'll be back in Division 4 next season. I hope you guys have enjoyed this Terra Mystica tournament season playlist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.